The desert world of Karith was quiet most of the time. Endless plains of rust-colored sand stretched between mountains of broken ships. Old war machines slept under layers of dust. No cities, no armies, only silence and wind. In the middle of that forgotten wasteland stood a small workshop made from scrap metal and old cargo panels. Inside worked a human engineer named Elias, Vorn. Elias was not famous. He was not rich. He had never commanded ships or fought in wars. He repaired machines that no one else wanted. His days were simple. He searched the scrap fields for broken technology. He fixed old engines. He rebuilt drones and power cells from discarded parts. Sometimes traders passed through and bought what he repaired. Most of the galaxy had forgotten. Kareth. Elias preferred it that way. One night the sky changed. Elias was sitting at his workbench repairing a cracked power regulator when a deep roar echoed across the desert. The sound grew louder. The ground trembled slightly. He stepped outside. A streak of fire cut across the dark sky. Something was falling. The object burned bright as it tore through the clouds. It moved fast and uncontrolled before slamming into the scrap fields far from the workshop. The explosion shook the ground and sent dust into the air. Elias stared at the distant smoke. Crash landings were rare here. Kareth had no trade routes, no reason for ships to pass nearby. Curiosity slowly pushed him forward. He grabbed his lantern and repair kit, then began walking across the cold metal plains. The journey took nearly an hour. When he reached the impact site, he found a shattered escape capsule buried between pieces of old warships. The hull glowed faintly from heat. Elias approached carefully. The capsule door had broken open. Inside was a soldier. The armor was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. Smooth silver plates covered the body like liquid metal. Thin glowing lines ran across the surface. Even damaged, it looked powerful. The soldier was unconscious. Elias hesitated for only a moment. Then he climbed into the wreck and pulled the soldier free. The helmet cracked open when he lifted it away. A young woman lay inside the armor. Her breathing was slow. A thin line of blood ran across her forehead. Elias carried her back across the silent scrap fields. His workshop lights were still on when he arrived. He placed her carefully on the repair table and began examining the armor. The system was damaged badly. Several power channels were overloaded. Life support was failing. Elias worked through the entire night. He removed cracked circuits and replaced them with salvaged components. He rebuilt power regulators using spare wiring. His hands moved with calm focus. Machines had always made sense to him. Slowly, the armor began to glow again. Soft silver light returned to the suit as its systems restarted. Morning sunlight slipped through the workshop walls when the soldier finally moved. Her eyes opened suddenly. In one motion, she sat upright and looked around the room with sharp, alert eyes. Elias stepped back and raised his hands. "You crashed nearby," he said calmly. "I repaired what I could." The woman stared at him for several seconds. Her eyes were cold and focused, like someone trained for war. "You are not a scavenger," she said, engineer. Elias replied. The soldier slowly relaxed. "My name is Arya," she said. Elias nodded. He did not ask more questions. For the next 2 days, Arya remained in the workshop while her armor slowly repaired itself. Elias continued his usual work. He fixed drones. He rebuilt engines. He cooked simple meals. Arya watched him quietly. It confused her. Across the galaxy, people chased power and status. Information about a fallen soldier in advanced armor could buy wealth or protection. Yet Elias never asked who she was. He never searched her armor. He never tried to contact anyone. He simply treated her like an injured traveler. On the third morning, Arya stood outside the workshop watching the sunrise. Endless fields of broken ships glowed orange in the early light. Elias stepped outside holding 2 cups of tea. "Your armor is stable now," he said. "No," she replied. They stood in silence for a moment. Finally, Arya looked at him. "You helped a stranger without asking anything." Elias shrugged slightly. "You needed help." That answer stayed in the air. Far across the galaxy, entire civilizations feared the woman standing beside him. But to Elias, she was simply someone who had crashed. A distant thunder suddenly echoed across the sky. Both of them looked up. 3 massive warships descended through the clouds. Their dark hulls carried the symbol of the Dominion. Imperial vessels, they hovered above the scrap fields like silent giants. Dozens of armored soldiers descended toward the surface using controlled flight packs. Elias blinked slowly. "Looks like someone important was looking for you." Arya turned toward him. Her expression had changed. "You saved my life." Elias nodded casually. Anyone would do the same. Arya knew that was not true. The soldiers landed around the workshop moments later. Their armor was black and gold. Elite Imperial Guard. The commander stepped forward and immediately dropped to one knee. "Your Majesty, we feared you were lost." Elias froze. Majesty's eyes moved slowly from the soldiers to Arya. She gave a small, tired smile. "I suppose you deserve the truth." The soldiers around them remained kneeling. Arya spoke calmly. "I am Arya Valeris, Empress of the Galactic Dominion." Ela stared at her for several seconds. Then he scratched his head. "Well, that explains the expensive armor." The Imperial commander looked shocked. Few beings in the galaxy reacted to the Empress like that. Arya could not stop herself from laughing quietly. Across thousands of worlds, she ruled fleets and armies. Yet the man who saved her life treated the revelation like mild weather news. The commander spoke carefully. "Your Majesty, what should we do about the civilian?" Arya raised her hand. "He is under my protection." The soldiers immediately went silent. Arya stepped closer to Elias. "The Dominion spans thousands of star systems," she said. "Slowly its fleets are powerful, but its people are not always wise." Elias listened quietly. "An empire needs more than soldiers," she continued. "It needs minds that solve problems without greed or fear." She looked directly at him. "Come with me." Elias blinked. "Where?" "To the capital, World Hour. Academies need engineers like you." For many years, Elias had lived alone on this quiet scrap world. He had never planned to leave. But now the ruler of the galaxy was standing in front of him, asking for help. He looked across the endless plains of broken ships. The wind moved softly through the metal ruins. Then he smiled. "My roof leaks anyway," he said. Arya laughed. The Imperial soldiers looked confused, but the Empress understood perfectly. Sometimes the fate of an empire could change because one quiet engineer chose to help a stranger in the desert. And from that day forward, the galaxy would learn something important: human kindness could be more powerful than fleets and crowns.